Wardell Stephen Curry is probably the most impactful NBA player in the last 20 years, as his change of the three-point shot and just the overall space and pace will change the game of basketball forever. Curry, currently in 2021, is a 7-time All-Star, the 2016 scoring champ and steals leader, a 6-time All-NBA, 2-time MVP, one of them being unanimous, and, like I said, changed the game forever. But Steph Curry is still hated, and in today's video, I'm going to explain to you why, in my opinion, Steph Curry is still really hated, though I don't really think it's warranted. So before we get started, it would be greatly appreciated if you subscribe to the channel. Here on the Mix channel, we make constant NBA content that you're surely going to enjoy. I will also leaving a like if you like the videos, and click on the bell so you never miss an upload. So that being said, let's begin. Steph Curry, like I said, was drafted in 2009, and heading into the NBA, he was of course the son of Dell Curry, one of, at that the most points off the bench in NBA history at that time before Lou Wings over Rings passed him soon. And then just, he always had that mentor that taught him how to shoot. And I think that was a big part of why he is the greatest shooter of all time. Though not the main reason, because Curry has an amazing mentality, he has an amazing work ethic, and yes, in his whole life, especially his early life, he's been counted out because he's 6'3", he's pretty skinny, and he kind of looks like a guy who is in a normal life, and you just think that this guy wouldn't be the best shooter of all time. You wouldn't assume that. So he was of course drafted with the 7th pick in the 2009 NBA draft. Of course, 6 teams greatly regretting their decisions, especially the Timberwolves, who took 2 point guards right ahead of Steph Curry in Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn. So that was definitely a humongous mistake. But then he just slowly developed. I'm pretty sure he was 2nd in Rookie of the Year. The next couple of years, they got Klay Thompson, Harrison Barnes, Draymond Green, who all became consistent players in those championship runs. Then in the early part of his career, Curry had ankle injuries, and that kind of really scared people because there was actually a possibility that they were going to trade him to the Milwaukee Bucks for Andrew Bogut. But instead, the Bucks did not want Curry, so instead they took Monte Ellis, who was the safer deal. So in 2014, the Warriors, or 2013, one of those, the Warriors made their first playoffs, where they definitely showed a lot of potential. They faced the Clippers in a 7-game series where they eventually did lose, but it showed that this team had talent and they were potentially a future of the NBA with Curry, Klay, all being under 25 years old. And then in 2015 was Curry's basically breakout year where he won the MVP. Nobody saw this coming, but Curry, this was basically his first season as a superstar. The Warriors won their championship, and yes, it probably wasn't the hardest road, but still, winning a championship is impressive because in the finals against the Cleveland Cavaliers, both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love were injured, and still LeBron made it a 6 or 5 game series, which was, I mean, that's just LeBron. But and then the next couple of years, the Warriors became a dynasty. They won 73 games, breaking the all-time record, with Curry being the unanimous MVP, making the most three-pointers in NBA history. And this proved that Curry, he is the greatest shooter of all time. I think at that time, we definitely knew his playmaking was still really good. And just with him being a threat while also having players on his team like Klay Thompson, Harrison Barnes, and Draymond who would facilitate, Curry was in the perfect situation. So he of course won the championship. He of course blew the 3-1 lead first against the Cleveland Cavaliers, but then they signed Kevin Durant with the new TV spike, and that was definitely a big part of Curry's legacy, and I'll talk about that later. But he of course won 2 championships. It wasn't too hard. I think it's really incredible that he easily took the backseat as the second best player. I don't think he gets enough credit for that. But Steph Curry, he was so good at that time. And then the one year that KD left to the Brooklyn Nets, he got injured. So at that time, heading to the season, we didn't know, no one really remembered how good Steph Curry was, and he was starting to become underrated, but immediately in the season, Chef Curry was back. Now, I think there are a lot of reasons why Steph Curry's hated, but the main one is the three-point shot. There are a lot of people who are over 20-ish and 30-ish that hate Stephen Curry because they like the post and physical game, and they can't fathom a 6'3" skinny dude being just so good and winning MVPs, just shooting, just beating so many teams. And a lot of people did not like that. Many people weren't willing to make the jump from centers to guards, like people like Greg Popovich, Shaq even still, Charles Barkley on the media. They still don't like the NBA game today because they haven't adjusted yet to the three-point shot. And the main focal point of the three-point shot is Steph Curry. So because they hate the three-point shot, they're going to take their shots, no pun intended, on Steph Curry, which, I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, I don't really think it's really warranted, but that's the main reason why. And then another reason why is just that he has beaten so many teams. And it's so tough to say because Curry, of course, won 3 championships, won 73 games in a season, and he just beat so many teams. And like, if someone beats you so many times, you're gonna start hating them because they're hating your favorite team. You're gonna always support your favorite team. You want your favorite team to win, and you're just gonna detest that guy who always beats you. So I guess that kind of makes sense, but Curry can't really control that. And going back into the KD thing, Curry couldn't control getting Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green over on his team because that wasn't Curry's choice. It was the front office making smart moves that they made to fit next to Curry. And I'm sure, for example, someone like LeBron James, I'm sure anyone in NBA history would want to have a supporting cast like this against all of the hate. And just thinking out about LeBron, oh man, I think LeBron is so hated. It's kind of sad mainly because of his name. I mean, he of course had the decision to the Miami Heat, and that left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth. Also, it's LeBron James, and you can add like LeGoat, LeBob, LeGM. It's kind of cool to see like LeFraud. I personally don't like it. It's so annoying, but that's just what people on like YouTube, Twitter, just the media in general, that's what they're going to do. They're going to change their names to have negative comments. And I mean, I think LeBron's is kind of warranted because he has choked a couple of times, but we can't deny LeBron's greatness. I think for both Steph, LeBron, KD, Dame, we have to appreciate this greatness. I mean, there's only probably 3 more years of Curry being an MVP level. I think he's gonna have he might play until he's 40 because Steph Curry's shooting translates when you get a lot older. Look at somebody like Kyle Korver, but there's like prime Stephen Curry, that's not gonna last forever. I mean, I know like Dame's, LeBron's, KD's prime has been so long, but everything must end. I think we must really appreciate just these guys. And then another reason why is just, like I said, the old guys. And they're used to a guy who's a 6'7" wing, who is going to be able to just be a wing. And they're not used to having, like I said, a 6'3" skinny dude just dominating the league. And they expect someone like Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, LeBron James to dominate rather than a guy who looks normal. And I think this kind of gives underdog mentality to Curry, which he definitely uses to, like, he takes things personal. I wouldn't say he takes it Michael Jordan personal, but he definitely uses that as motivation to win. And then it's tough to say. I do think that Curry is the most underappreciated star in the modern NBA because people don't hate and appreciate what he has done. People are just hating him. If you look at, so the NBA posts, of course, the highlights of every game. And when Curry is a bad game or the Warriors lose, everyone calls him like Russell Westbrook is better, Chris Paul is better, Curry is a choker, which is not true. They always look at the bad games, but there's so many more good games than bad games. And Curry is an all-time great, the greatest shooter of all time, the best normal-sized point guard. I do think he is the second best point guard behind Magic Johnson. But that's just going to be my opinion for why I think Stephen Curry is so hated. Comment down below your thoughts for why you think Stephen Curry is so hated. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and I'll see you all next time.